The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. The year unfolds like a mirror. It does not give you what you want. It reflects what you have become. When a person learns to see that truth, impatience dissolves. The Stoics understood that life's rhythm is not random. It is measured, exact, and aligned with the order of nature. What comes to you comes at the hour it was earned. What is delayed is not denied. What is withheld is preparing you. The disciplined mind does not chase outcomes, it prepares for them. When the year begins, so does the test. Can you stay composed while the world shifts around you? The impatient spend their strength chasing. The disciplined use that strength to build. The difference is invisible at first, but absolute in result. A person who waits with focus creates gravity. People call it luck, timing, destiny. It is none of those. It is order meeting readiness. It is a season meeting a mind trained to endure the wait. The Stoic knows everything will come, but only to those who have stopped demanding it. Epictetus said, "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen." That is not resignation. It is precision. It means shaping your internal law to the rhythm of the external world. It means aligning conduct with the unseen timing of consequence. The more you align, the less resistance you face. The less resistance, the faster the result. Nature does not rush, yet nothing is left undone. There is a hidden force that pulls everything toward balance. Call it providence, nature, the order of things. It cannot be forced, only harmonized with. The person who learns to trust it gains a quiet dominance over life. While others burn themselves out chasing, the Stoic becomes the kind of being that things gravitate toward. This year, the world will move toward those who have trained their energy to remain steady, calm, and prepared. Everything will come, but only to the still. Patience is not idleness. It is power restrained. It is the art of conserving strength until the precise moment of execution. Every delay tests not your fate, but your preparation. Every obstacle measures not your potential, but your control. The disciplined person sees the pause as opportunity. They use the waiting to refine. They build while others complain. They think while others react. They endure while others collapse. By the time the gate opens, they are already in motion. Each day this year will demand clarity. You must choose between reaction and order, between noise and silence. The Stoic learns to prefer the invisible work, the unseen repetitions that make visible transformation inevitable. Those who understand this principle no longer fear time, they use it. They know that waiting does not slow them, distraction does. The greatest progress often looks like stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." The modern mind reads that as motivation. The Stoic reads it as physics. Resistance is direction. Delay is instruction. The world is showing you exactly where you must strengthen. To fight what is delayed is to fight the lesson itself. Every setback is a refinement of readiness. Everything will come to you this year when you have built the structure strong enough to hold it. People ask for success without stability, freedom without control, peace without self-mastery. Nature denies them not from cruelty, but from precision. A tree grows deep roots before it reaches height. You must do the same. Before anything comes, you must become the person capable of keeping it. The disciplined person learns to remove emotional deadlines. They do not ask when, they ask, what must I become? That question dissolves all anxiety. It replaces impatience with purpose. The Stoic does not measure by dates, they measure by strength. When you stop forcing time, time begins to move for you. The untrained believe control means acceleration. The wise understand control means alignment. This year will test your alignment. Everything you desire will reveal itself as a mirror. If your mind is chaotic, the path will fragment. If your conduct is consistent, the path will clear. The external world organizes itself around internal law. When your priorities are disciplined, opportunity finds its path to you. What you hold inside dictates what you attract outside. Calmness becomes magnetic. People underestimate its force because it does not shout. It moves quietly, but it rearranges everything around it. Calmness signals certainty. Certainty signals readiness. Readiness draws opportunity. The sequence is mechanical, not mystical. You do not need to believe in luck to see it working. Look at anyone who keeps their composure through chaos. Watch how life begins to align for them. Every year, countless people fail not from lack of opportunity, but from emotional exhaustion. They burn energy chasing what was already moving toward them. Impatience breaks their rhythm. Doubt collapses their posture. The Stoic refuses to break form. They act when required, they wait when necessary, and they endure when tested. This simple pattern separates chaos from command. The world responds to posture. Every decision you make either strengthens or weakens it. When you act from desperation, you repel what you want. When you act from grounded confidence, you draw it closer. People can feel it, so can fate. The disciplined person carries themselves as if what they seek is already on its way, because they trust the mechanism of cause and effect. Their stillness becomes signal. To practice this posture is not to wait passively. It is to operate under continuous preparation. Each morning becomes training. Each task becomes alignment. The year bends toward those who are consistent. Those who practice control in private will command results in public. The path is not about seeking reward, it is about maintaining readiness so that when the world opens, you are already prepared to walk through. Desire must be purified. The Stoic does not reject it, they refine it. Desire without discipline leads to chaos. Desire guided by order becomes destiny. You cannot receive what you have not mastered. The undisciplined attract disorder because they mirror it. The Stoic attracts precision because they embody it. This year, what you hold internally will be your harvest. The modern world celebrates urgency, but Stoicism teaches rhythm. You do not need to rush to catch what is already meant for you. You only need to stay in alignment long enough for convergence. Time rewards those who remain consistent when nothing seems to move. It is in that stillness that gravity forms, the unseen pull that brings things closer. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." That sentence defines the year ahead. Preparation is your control. Opportunity is nature's. Where they meet, fate operates. You cannot force that meeting, but you can guarantee readiness when it arrives. Most people sabotage it by losing discipline just before alignment. They fall to frustration one day before the door opens. The Stoic strength lies in sustained composure. They understand that emotion must serve order, not rule it. When emotion leads, perception blurs. When discipline leads, perception sharpens. Every delay begins to reveal its purpose. Every obstacle begins to show its design. This understanding converts waiting from suffering into training. What others call boredom, the Stoic calls refinement. To believe that everything will come to you this year is not blind faith. It is calculated confidence. It is the understanding that every effort compounds silently. Results are not linear. They arrive in waves after long stillness. When nothing seems to move, Progress is rearranging beneath the surface. The disciplined mind knows this and keeps working. Trust does not mean inaction. It means continuing to act without agitation. It means doing what must be done and releasing what cannot be controlled. The Stoic trains both effort and surrender. They give their best, then detach from the outcome. This detachment is not indifference, it is mastery. The one who does not cling receives. There is no wasted time when discipline is maintained. Every act of order builds internal gravity. Every repetition adds weight to your presence. When the external world finally aligns, it will not be by accident. It will be because your internal law demanded it. The Stoics' belief that everything will come is not a hope, it is a recognition of universal symmetry. The year will not give equally. It will test. It will measure. It will demand proof of strength through patience. But the calm mind will pass every test. When storms rise, they will not panic. When silence lasts, they will not doubt. They will know that both are parts of the same training. Endurance is the only path that time respects. Each morning is a reminder that alignment must be renewed. The mind must be trained daily to remain clear. The world will try to draw you into reaction, to make you rush, to make you fear, to make you doubt. Your discipline must remain stronger than those currents. Composure is not natural, it is cultivated. Each act of restraint builds sovereignty. People think control is about dominance over others. The Stoic knows it is about dominance over self. When you can hold your emotions steady, nothing external can destabilize you. That steadiness makes you ungovernable by circumstance. It is the mark of internal freedom. And from freedom, attraction follows. The world bends toward those who do not chase it. The disciplined person no longer asks, "When will it happen?" They ask, "Am I ready when it does?" That single change of question reorders destiny. When readiness replaces demand, time becomes your ally. The Stoic who maintains alignment finds that the world begins to accelerate toward them. They no longer pursue. Things converge. Stillness becomes a strategy. Silence becomes a weapon. Detachment becomes power. This posture cannot be faked. It must be built through repetition and trust. When you stop reacting, everything that belongs to you begins to reveal itself. When you stop reaching, life begins to deliver. The disciplined mind no longer waits, it abides. Each action this year will echo. The energy behind it will multiply. When you act from calm conviction, the world responds with clarity. When you act from fear, the world mirrors confusion. Conduct is correspondence. If your effort is aligned, the results are certain. This is not philosophy, it is the physics of order. To hold this posture requires solitude. You must be willing to stand apart from the restless. The Stoic does not measure progress by noise, recognition, or applause. They measure it by internal coherence. When your conduct matches your principles, peace begins to build momentum. That peace is not soft, it is structural. It is the foundation that allows everything to come without collapse. Every disciplined act becomes a signal. Every act of restraint becomes gravity. Every moment of composure becomes instruction to the world. You are ready. When life tests you, it is not rejection, it is confirmation. The greater the delay, the more you are being refined to hold what is coming. Nature rewards precision. It aligns with those who act in harmony with its pace. When you synchronize your rhythm with its order, what is meant for you can find you without obstruction. That is why the Stoic walks without haste. They know that destiny cannot be missed when one's conduct is correct. Everything will come to you this year if you can sustain your alignment. What remains ahead is the deeper discipline, the quiet authority that builds when calmness becomes your default, when control becomes your nature, and when patience turns into presence. The next movement begins where composure evolves into command. The rhythm of timing governs everything. It is the silent order behind success, the pattern beneath every moment of arrival. The Stoic understands that life does not withhold, it arranges. Each delay is a design, each waiting period a refinement. What appears as stagnation is preparation in motion. Nothing in nature hurries, yet everything unfolds in precision. The mind that learns this rhythm gains peace in the midst of uncertainty. To master the rhythm of timing is to master patience without passivity. The Stoic waits actively. They prepare while others pause. They cultivate strength in the interval between desire and result. The untrained see silence as emptiness. The wise see it as calibration. The world is aligning unseen forces, and the disciplined mind remains ready to meet them. There is a saying, "What happens to each of us is ordained for our instruction." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time." Timing, then, is not random. It is a language of order that speaks through sequence. Events do not simply occur, they arrive when understanding has been earned. The Stoic does not demand acceleration, they demand readiness. When the mind and moment finally align, everything that was delayed arrives as if inevitable. To live by this rhythm requires surrender of control without surrender of effort. The Stoic works as if everything depends on them, but waits as if nothing does. This balance creates composure. The effort remains steady, the attachment dissolves. They learn to trust that outcomes will appear precisely when they can be held without corruption. Every delay tests foundation. Impatience reveals weakness. If waiting breeds resentment, the structure was never solid. The Stoic uses waiting as proof of alignment. If calm remains, the direction is correct. If agitation arises, correction is needed. This awareness converts frustration into feedback. Timing is nature's measurement of discipline. It delivers reward only to those who maintain integrity in the interval. The Stoic trains not to shorten the wait, but to strengthen their posture during it. They understand that waiting is not a pause between progress. It is progress itself, invisible but exact. The disciplined person views time as an ally. They know that time does not hide opportunity, it ripens it. Just as fruit matures under sunlight, potential matures under delay. The untrained rush to pick before the harvest. The Stoic waits for perfection. They understand that what comes early cannot last, and what arrives late is often greater than imagined. The rhythm of timing humbles arrogance. It reminds the mind that control is partial, not absolute. The Stoic acts with precision, but yields to providence. This union between effort and acceptance forms the core of peace. When both coexist, struggle ceases. Every event, whether swift or slow, becomes correct in its sequence. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." The Stoic treats this as law. They build quietly, layer by layer, knowing that depth requires duration. What is earned slowly becomes permanent. What is forced fades. They do not rush transformation, they live it. The wise recognize that impatience is a form of disbelief. It implies that the natural order has failed. The Stoic refuses this illusion. They trust the design even when unseen. They know that what belongs to them cannot miss them. Therefore, their conduct remains steady while others break under uncertainty. The rhythm of timing operates like a tide. It advances, withdraws, and returns with greater force. The Stoic flows with it, never resisting the pull or fearing the retreat. When things withdraw, they conserve energy. When things advance, they act. This adaptability keeps them balanced regardless of circumstance. Modern life rewards haste, but haste breaks alignment. The Stoic moves by rhythm, not reaction. They know that what is rushed is weakened. Every motion has its tempo. Every decision has its hour. The ability to sense this hour, to act neither too soon nor too late, is what separates mastery from chaos. The rhythm of timing teaches that waiting is not absence of movement, but synchronization with greater forces. The Stoic listens for that rhythm within silence. They train awareness until intuition becomes instrument. Each sign, each obstacle, each opportunity is read as part of the same unfolding pattern. This reading of reality replaces anxiety with understanding. To live in rhythm is to become untouchable by delay. The Stoic feels no panic when results take time. They know that haste often creates what must later be undone. They would rather move once with certainty than 100 times in confusion. Patience is not weakness, it is measured control. Discipline protects against premature action. The Stoic does not act from urgency, but from clarity. They understand that clarity is a function of stillness. When the mind is quiet, timing becomes visible. The right moment always announces itself to those who are calm enough to perceive it. Nature itself follows this rhythm. Seasons arrive not by command, but by alignment. Growth, decay, and renewal operate in perfect sequence. The Stoic mirrors this within. They work, rest, and reflect according to necessity, not impulse. This synchronization creates peace that is not dependent on external pace. The rhythm of timing reveals that success is less about effort and more about alignment. Two people may labor equally. One advances while the other stagnates. The difference lies in rhythm. The Stoic who moves in accordance with natural timing encounters doors that open effortlessly. The impatient force doors that were never meant for them. When the Stoic acts in rhythm, results accelerate naturally. They are no longer chasing outcomes. They are meeting them at convergence. The effort feels lighter, the path clearer, the results more enduring. This is not coincidence. It is the physics of order. Alignment replaces struggle. Each failure in timing carries a lesson in awareness. Acting too early reveals arrogance. Acting too late reveals hesitation. The Stoic refines both until their movement feels inevitable. They do not force destiny, they synchronize with it. To act at the right moment is to act with the universe itself. To maintain rhythm under chaos requires internal silence. The Stoic cultivates this silence daily through reflection, solitude, and reason. When the world accelerates into panic, they remain unhurried. This steadiness grants them clarity while others lose form. It is through this composure that opportunity becomes visible. Patience without preparation is stagnation. Preparation without patience is waste. The Stoic unites both. They build in quiet and wait with confidence. Each day adds invisible momentum. Then, when the moment arrives, it feels like recognition rather than surprise. Everything falls into place not by magic, but by readiness. The rhythm of timing transforms waiting into meditation. The Stoic learns to observe without interference. They do not demand progress, they detect it. Subtle changes become visible. The wind shifts, the silence hums, life begins to align, and the disciplined mind simply moves with it. Seneca taught that fortune is prepared for the disciplined. Timing, then, is not fortune, it is precision. When preparation meets its appointed hour, the result appears effortless. The Stoic lives for that meeting. Every act of order is a step toward that alignment. They work not to earn reward, but to synchronize with inevitability. Timing reveals character. Those who break under delay expose dependence. Those who remain steady prove strength. The Stoic sees waiting as a filter that separates the impulsive from the disciplined. Patience is not only virtue, it is a test of readiness. The unready cannot endure stillness. The rhythm of timing trains perception. It teaches the Stoic to sense the invisible intervals between effort and effect. They stop measuring by minutes and start measuring by maturity. The longer they wait, the more refined their intent becomes. By the time opportunity arrives, they have already become what it requires. To move in rhythm is to trust that nothing truly meant for you can be lost. Even when paths diverge or chances fade, what aligns with your conduct will reappear. The Stoic no longer chases, it returns to them. Life gravitates toward precision. This truth removes all panic from the heart. The disciplined person ceases to demand control of outcome. They seek control of state. Their only concern is remaining composed within uncertainty. By guarding their posture, they remain ready at all times. The universe does not need to adjust. They are already aligned. When opportunity arrives, it recognizes its reflection. The rhythm of timing becomes visible only to those who listen more than they act. The Stoic develops this listening until it feels instinctive. They sense when to withdraw and when to advance. They do not rush decisions. They allow events to declare their readiness. This patience is not waiting for permission, it is waiting for precision. Time favors those who do not force it. The Stoic moves in steady alignment with the unseen order of things. They do not waste movement. They conserve, prepare, and remain composed. When the tide turns, they are already in position. What others call coincidence is simply readiness meeting rhythm. To understand timing is to understand peace. Life no longer feels hostile or resistant. It feels exact. Every obstacle appears as instruction. Every silence holds signal. The Stoic walks through it all with quiet assurance. What must come will come, and when it does, it will find them already ready. The rhythm of timing is not a secret, it is a discipline. It asks for faith without passivity, effort without aggression, patience without sleep. The Stoic practices this daily until their inner tempo matches that of the world. Then life stops feeling delayed. Everything begins to move at the speed of composure. When the Stoic reaches this understanding, they no longer hope for alignment. They live in it. The year unfolds as sequence, not surprise. Every event meets its hour. Every goal approaches in silence. The Stoic moves through it all with certainty born of rhythm. They no longer chase, they arrive. The inevitability of alignment is the silent truth that governs all movement in life. It is the unseen order that rewards preparation and exposes disorder. The Stoic understands that what is built on integrity must eventually converge with its rightful outcome. This is not superstition, it is symmetry. Cause and effect are bound by law, not luck. When conduct remains disciplined long enough, results are drawn to it by necessity. Alignment begins as discipline and ends as gravity. Every action repeated with purpose shapes the invisible field around the person. Each act of consistency strengthens pull. The Stoic does not chase what they desire, they align with what they deserve. In that alignment, desire transforms into direction. The world recognizes form and responds accordingly. The untrained mind doubts this law because it cannot see it, but the disciplined mind feels it. There comes a point where effort becomes magnetic, where the right people, places, and moments appear in exact sequence. This is not coincidence, it is precision revealed over time. Alignment has its own momentum, and once set in motion, it cannot be stopped. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." To align thought with order is to align life with progress. The Stoic does not resist the current. They become its direction. This surrender is not weakness. It is awareness. They act according to nature, and nature carries them forward. Fate does not oppose them because they no longer move against it. The inevitability of alignment is indifferent to impatience. It cannot be rushed, only matched. The one who keeps their inner order intact through waiting will see the world synchronize around them. The impatient fragment their focus, scattering what could have been magnetized. The Stoic remains still, knowing that every delay refines proportion. To understand inevitability, one must abandon fear. Fear interrupts rhythm. It forces premature action. The Stoic views fear as a distortion of perception, a noise that hides timing. By dissolving it, they restore clarity. Once calm returns, the path becomes visible again. The world moves toward stillness, not panic. Alignment does not depend on circumstance, but on coherence. When thought, speech, and action move as one, the person becomes unified. That unity creates inevitability. Conflicted minds repel their own desires. Ordered minds attract their mirror. The Stoic works not on the external, but on the symmetry within. The inevitability of alignment does not announce itself. It reveals itself quietly through coincidence, timing, and ease. What once required force begins to unfold naturally. The Stoic recognizes these signs as confirmation that order is functioning. The more they trust it, the stronger it grows. What the undisciplined call luck, the wise call synchronization. Seneca said, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." To align willingly is to move without resistance. The Stoic accepts that life has its current and that their task is not to control it, but to flow with it through discipline. Their choices become precise not because they are controlling outcomes, but because they are synchronized with them. When alignment matures, struggle dissolves. The Stoic still works, but their effort feels lighter. Energy once spent on control is redirected into precision. They no longer attempt to move the world, they move themselves into position. This is how inevitability manifests, not through force, but through fit. The universe operates through balance. Nothing is given without preparation to hold it. The Stoic builds the capacity first, and the reward arrives after. To demand what has not been earned is to invite collapse. Alignment ensures sustainability. Only what resonates with your structure can stay. The rest passes by. The disciplined person does not fear loss because they understand that what departs was not aligned. The departure is not punishment, it is correction. The law of alignment removes what does not belong to preserve integrity. The Stoic accepts this pruning with gratitude. It keeps the foundation pure. Every test of patience is a test of belief in inevitability. The moment you doubt, you disconnect. The Stoic guards faith not through emotion, but through action. They keep working in silence even when results are invisible. They understand that the laws of order move slower than desire, but far more exact. To live aligned is to live without conflict between will and world. The Stoic stops asking why things happen and begins asking where they fit. This question removes resistance. Even difficulty becomes directional. Every challenge strengthens the same gravity that draws success closer. The inevitability of alignment demands humility. It reminds the mind that control is partial and cooperation is strength. The Stoic does not attempt to bend the world. They learn its rhythm and adapt to it. Their success is a form of harmony, not domination. The more they align with truth, the less they must fight for outcome. What is meant for you cannot arrive early because you would not yet be ready to sustain it. This understanding turns frustration into patience. The Stoic uses waiting as refinement, not delay. They train the vessel until it matches the weight of what approaches. When it finally arrives, it stays. Alignment changes perception. The Stoic stops viewing others as competitors. They recognize that each person's rhythm is unique, each path exact. Comparison loses all relevance. Peace replaces envy. Focus becomes absolute. In this state, energy is conserved, clarity expands, and inevitability accelerates. To remain aligned requires daily discipline. The Stoic returns to order each morning. They clear the mind, simplify intention, and move deliberately. They guard against drift. Indifference to chaos becomes a tool of focus. The moment the external world attempts to provoke reaction, they return to silence. From that silence, they realign. The inevitability of alignment is visible in every system of nature. Planets move in precise orbit. Seasons follow sequence. Tides obey gravity. The Stoic mirrors this perfection internally. They live by proportion. They rise with order, act with reason, and rest with purpose. Their life becomes a smaller version of the same cosmic design. To break alignment is to lose access to grace. When actions contradict intention, friction appears. Results slow. Energy leaks. The Stoic corrects this quickly. They do not complain about stagnation. They trace its cause. Every delay has a reason. Alignment, once restored, restores flow. The disciplined person understands that outcomes are never denied. They are deferred until fit is achieved. This truth eliminates desperation. What belongs to you will wait for you, but it will not lower its standard to meet you. Therefore, the Stoic's only task is refinement. The world moves toward the refined. When alignment deepens, coincidence becomes constant. The right message appears at the right time. The right person arrives with the right key. The right decision feels effortless. This is not mystery, it is mathematics. Repetition creates resonance. Resonance creates convergence. The Stoic no longer forces connection. It happens by design. The inevitability of alignment transforms adversity into acceleration. What opposes the disciplined strengthens them. Resistance polishes structure. Setbacks remove excess. The Stoic views difficulty as proof that refinement is underway. Each obstacle is shaping the exact frequency that will attract what must arrive. In this understanding, failure becomes a teacher, not a verdict. The Stoic dissects it calmly. What misaligned action created it? What correction does it demand? Through this process, failure becomes function. Each adjustment restores the trajectory toward inevitability. To trust alignment is to live without tension between faith and logic. The Stoics' belief is rational. They do not hope blindly, they calculate. They know that if they remain ordered, time will deliver proportionate results. This is the Stoics' quiet certainty. Everything that is truly aligned with order must eventually converge. When alignment becomes identity, movement feels guided. The Stoic senses subtle shifts before they manifest. Intuition sharpens because distraction has been removed. They act with perfect timing, not because of foresight, but because of calibration. The mind, tuned to order, anticipates without prediction. The inevitability of alignment erases fear of loss, rejection, and delay. These no longer register as threats, but as functions of correction. The Stoic understands that nothing truly theirs can vanish. What departs was dissonant. What stays was tested. This awareness produces serenity deeper than joy. The disciplined person ceases to interfere with process. They learn to allow. Allowing does not mean inactivity. It means trust in sequence. When the foundation is ready, Results will arrive by law. This trust turns action into flow. Struggle transforms into synchronization. Each day lived in alignment amplifies gravity. Every decision made in discipline strengthens attraction. What once required effort begins to approach on its own. The Stoic watches this unfold without surprise. They expected it. They trained for it. The inevitable does not shock the prepared. The mind that lives by this truth no longer fears time. Time becomes collaborator, not adversary. The Stoic moves through it with measured patience, knowing that every second is either building structure or revealing it. Their only task is maintenance of form. The rest is inevitable. Eventually, alignment becomes self-sustaining. It no longer requires constant correction. The person has become the principle. Their thoughts, actions, and presence all radiate coherence. They have entered the current of inevitability. Life meets them halfway in everything they do. This is the highest state of Stoic order, to live as embodiment of timing itself. The Stoic who reaches this level no longer asks when. They understand that the when is already written, and their only task is to remain aligned long enough to meet it. Everything will come, not because of hope, but because the structure demands it. The inevitability of alignment is the end of striving and the beginning of harmony. It is the moment when discipline becomes magnetism, when patience becomes arrival, and when preparation becomes destiny. The Stoic stands in stillness, watching what was once chaste begin to move toward them. It was never a matter of chance. It was always a matter of alignment. The gravity of readiness is the invisible force that pulls opportunity toward the prepared. It is the unspoken power behind every appearance of luck, timing, and chance. The Stoic knows that fortune does not visit the unready. It arrives where discipline has already cleared the ground. Readiness is the quiet magnet of destiny. It does not chase. It draws. It does not seek. It stands prepared for convergence. Preparation shapes presence. The moment you are truly ready for what you desire, you begin to attract its weight. The world senses structure. It gravitates toward order. The Stoic lives with this awareness, knowing that energy, people, and events are always in search of stability. When you embody readiness, life organizes around you. Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." To the Stoic, that statement defines existence itself. There is no luck, only law. Opportunity is constant, but its visibility depends on the observer's state. The unready cannot see openings even when they stand before them. The ready see paths where others see walls. Readiness is not an act, it is a posture. It is a state of composed vigilance, a mind always clean, a spirit always poised. The Stoic maintains readiness as habit, not reaction. They do not wait for the signal to prepare. Preparation is the signal. By living in constant refinement, they remove the need for sudden transformation. Every moment is training for the next. The gravity of readiness builds slowly. Each repetition of order deepens its field. The more consistent the preparation, the stronger the attraction. It is not ambition that brings destiny closer, it is reliability. The Stoic becomes a fixed point in a world of fluctuation. Their steadiness begins to draw circumstances that match its frequency. True readiness cannot be faked. Pretending to be prepared invites collapse. The Stoic understands that reality tests sincerity. The unready reveal themselves in moments of pressure. The ready respond with calm precision. They have rehearsed not for the event, but for composure within it. Their power lies in the discipline behind the unseen hours. Readiness sharpens perception. The prepared mind notices what others ignore. Subtle details, small openings, hidden opportunities. These are visible only to those who have trained to see. The Stoic keeps awareness sharpened through silence and repetition. They study their environment not for what it promises, but for how it responds. The gravity of readiness is strongest in stillness. When the mind is quiet, it becomes a field of attraction. Noise repels clarity. The Stoic cultivates silence within action. Even in movement, they remain calm. Even in pressure, they remain composed. This still readiness communicates assurance, and assurance draws trust. The world gravitates towards certainty. Every outcome in life is proportionate to readiness. Those who demand rewards before building structure lose both. Those who prepare without expectation attract both. The Stoic focuses on competence, not circumstance. When the call arrives, they are already standing at the door. Readiness eliminates surprise. The world respects preparation because it mirrors its own law. Nature rewards what aligns with its rhythm. The disciplined mind mirrors that rhythm through constancy and measure. Readiness becomes harmony with time itself. When the right moment comes, it does not feel sudden. It feels earned. To maintain this state, the Stoic trains daily in composure, clarity, and control. They do not allow comfort to decay their sharpness. They treat each day as rehearsal for the moment unseen. This is not paranoia, it is purpose. The prepared do not fear change because they have already built flexibility into their foundation. The gravity of readiness functions through trust. The Stoic prepares and then releases attachment. They understand that readiness without faith becomes tension. True readiness contains calm. It says, "I am ready when it arrives." The world responds to this steadiness. The anxious repel, the composed receive. Readiness gives authority to stillness. The unprepared rush to prove. The Stoic moves with quiet certainty. They do not announce their strength. They demonstrate it through precision. Their calm under pressure confirms that they have rehearsed for chaos. Confidence born of readiness does not shout. It steadies the room. The gravity of readiness transforms time. When you are prepared, opportunity seems to accelerate. When you are unprepared, it feels delayed. The Stoic experiences flow because they are synchronized with necessity. Their readiness allows them to act at the exact moment without hesitation. This timing creates the illusion of luck. Readiness builds a sense of inevitability. The disciplined person no longer wonders if opportunities will appear. They know they must. The only question is whether they will be ready to meet them. This perspective removes anxiety. It replaces doubt with direction. The Stoic acts each day as if the meeting is already scheduled. The test of readiness is never announced. Life reveals it without warning. The Stoic trains for the unseen strike, the sudden loss, the unexpected shift, the unplanned chance. They meet each with the same rhythm. Their steadiness under surprise proves the depth of their discipline. The world trusts those who remain composed when others fracture. Preparation creates self-respect. The ready mind walks differently. It carries a quiet dignity, a certainty that does not depend on outcome. This posture itself becomes a magnet. People sense when someone has done the work. Readiness emits assurance. It says without words, "I can be trusted. I am already steady." The gravity of readiness does not depend on opportunity alone. It creates it. The Stoics' order signals possibility to others. Their reliability becomes resource. Their consistency opens doors that skill alone cannot. People seek the company of those who are prepared because they sense safety in their structure. Readiness refines emotion. The Stoic no longer panics under pressure because they have already imagined the test. They have rehearsed response until it feels natural. Fear cannot survive familiarity. Every scenario once visualized loses its threat. The prepared person does not hope to survive. They expect to perform. The unready chase timing. The ready align with it. When the moment arrives, the Stoic does not scramble. They step. Their calm is not arrogance, but synchronization. They have been waiting not idly, but actively, refining themselves to match the demand of destiny. The gravity of readiness operates beyond ambition. It does not require constant striving. It builds itself quietly through endurance. Every act of discipline adds density to its pull. The stronger the structure, the less effort is required. The Stoic eventually reaches a point where life begins to organize around them naturally. Readiness demands humility. It admits that potential without preparation is illusion. The Stoic values work over wish. They accept that the universe grants to those who have proven capacity. The unready ask for opportunity. The ready attract it. This difference defines every outcome. To cultivate readiness is to cultivate peace. Uncertainty becomes irrelevant because the Stoic trusts their own structure. Whatever happens, they are ready to meet it. The external world loses its power to intimidate. When one's foundation is stable, the unknown becomes manageable. Readiness creates economy of action. There are no wasted movements, no scattered energy. The Stoic acts decisively, directly, and with precision. They conserve strength through clarity. Because they are prepared, they never rush. Their timing is perfect, not through prediction, but through presence. The gravity of readiness strengthens through solitude. Alone, the Stoic refines their inner tools. Without the noise of distraction, they see clearly where improvement is needed. They do not confuse busyness with readiness. Quiet preparation builds power faster than visible effort. What is unseen gathers the most force. Every form of mastery passes through readiness. The philosopher prepares the mind, the soldier prepares the body, the leader prepares the spirit. Each seeks to become so practiced that response requires no thought. This is readiness at its highest, instinct formed through repetition, reaction replaced by execution. The Stoic knows that readiness is tested not in comfort but in disruption. Calm days prove nothing. The storm reveals truth. The one who can act clearly under chaos has transcended it. Their movements remain sharp, their mind unshaken. That steadiness creates the gravity that draws order back into the room. To be ready is to live awake. The Stoic does not drift through routine unconsciously. They move with intention. Each act of focus builds connection between mind and moment. Readiness is awareness sharpened by repetition. When others react, they respond. When others pause, they proceed. The gravity of readiness is not loud. It moves quietly, attracting by presence, not persuasion. Its proof lies in precision, the way tasks are executed, the way silence is held. The ready person does not demand recognition because their results speak for them. Their alignment becomes visible to all who encounter it. Readiness eliminates dependence on external conditions. The Stoic trains to perform under any circumstance. Cold, heat, noise, silence, scarcity, abundance. Adaptability is the final form of readiness. When conditions lose power to disrupt, mastery becomes permanent. The Stoic's readiness extends beyond skill. It includes moral preparation. They maintain ethical clarity, so decisions never stall under temptation. Their compass is already set. When choices arise, they do not debate. They execute. Virtue itself becomes part of readiness. The gravity of readiness culminates in peace. The person who has prepared cannot be surprised. They have already rehearsed every storm in the mind. When life tests them, they recognize the pattern. They do not collapse, they act. This confidence is not arrogance, it is certainty earned through repetition. Eventually, readiness becomes its own force. It pulls opportunities, people, and events toward the one who embodies it. The Stoic no longer wonders when things will align. They trust that alignment is inevitable when they remain prepared. They have become a gravitational center of order in a disordered world. This is the quiet power of the Stoic. Readiness so complete that the future bends toward it. Nothing forced, nothing begged, nothing rushed. Only composure, precision, and endurance. The world moves to meet those who are ready, because readiness itself is the signal that destiny has found its mark. The law of return is the unbreakable principle that everything given, built, or endured eventually circles back. The Stoic does not believe in luck or random fortune. They believe in symmetry. Every act, every thought, every sacrifice leaves a trace that must one day reappear. What you plant must surface. What you sustain must strengthen. What you neglect must decay. Life moves by law, not mercy. The Stoic lives with this awareness, knowing that the universe is precise, not emotional. Nothing is lost. Nothing escapes. Everything moves in sequence, obeying an order that is absolute. This is both a warning and a promise. The one who moves with discipline will eventually meet its reward. The one who surrenders to chaos will meet its reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is transformation, life is opinion." The Stoic interprets this as law. Every action transforms into consequence. The return may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. The wise live accordingly. They do not demand quick reward because they understand that the return comes in proportion to endurance. The law of return measures constancy. It rewards persistence and punishes inconsistency. The one who begins and quits will never see completion. The one who endures repetition will one day cross into inevitability. The Stoic continues through monotony, knowing that repetition is the forge of return. Each disciplined act compounds until reality itself must answer. The disciplined mind does not expect repayment from others. It expects it from life. Virtue itself is the contract. The Stoic serves their principle without witness because they know that all effort contributes to an unseen account. When the return arrives, it does not come as gift, but as balance restored. The universe always pays its debts. Seneca wrote, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is." The Stoic lives by quality, not duration. The law of return mirrors this truth. Each action contains its full return within its purity. A single moment of true virtue outweighs years of compromise. A day lived with integrity echoes across decades. The law of return teaches that no labor is wasted. Even unseen work accumulates. Every act of restraint adds gravity. Every moment of silence stores energy. Every test endured without complaint adds weight to character. Eventually, that stored weight becomes power. The world, unable to ignore it, must respond. To live with awareness of this law is to move without entitlement. The Stoic expects no immediate recognition. They act knowing that timing belongs to order, not to will. This removes bitterness from patience. They understand that their reward is delayed only because it is being refined. Return that comes too soon collapses. Return that arrives through order lasts. The law of return also governs decay. Every indulgence, every lapse of discipline, every act of cowardice circles back with its consequence. The Stoic accepts this not as punishment, but as education. Life mirrors our conduct, so we can correct it. The untrained resent the reflection. The disciplined use it as instruction. Readiness and return are connected. What you are ready to receive, you attract. What you have not built the structure to hold, you repel. The Stoic refines readiness to ensure that when the return comes, it remains. Without preparation, reward becomes burden. With preparation, it becomes permanence. The law of return respects proportion. You cannot give little and receive much. The universe measures exactly. Effort returns as opportunity. Consistency returns as peace. The Stoic lives with this awareness and therefore wastes nothing. Every word, every decision, every silence is investment. Those who believe they can cheat the law reveal ignorance of it. What is unearned always departs. The Stoic does not pursue shortcuts because they understand that each avoidance creates imbalance. The correction always follows. The law is patient but exact. Time ensures that justice is never forgotten. To believe in the law of return is to live without cynicism. The Stoic does not doubt that good returns because they see evidence of it in every rhythm of nature. The seed becomes tree, the tide returns to shore. The disciplined person sees this and acts in alignment. Their faith is not emotional, it is observational. Every act of restraint is a deposit in future strength. Every refusal to break form adds stability to the structure. The law of return does not respond to words, it responds to repetition. The Stoic practices discipline not for applause, but to ensure that when life measures, it finds them precise. The return is often disguised as test. Before reward, there is verification. The Stoic meets this calmly. They know that the universe confirms strength through repetition of challenge. Only when the lesson is complete does the pattern change. The untrained call it misfortune. The wise recognize it as validation. The law of return grants authority to those who endure long enough to see its pattern. The impatient quit before equilibrium restores. The Stoic remains still. They have learned to outlast cycles. They understand that what departs will circle back when form is maintained. The seasons prove it. All things return to their origin. To operate within this law is to live cleanly. The Stoic avoids deceit because deception creates debt. They avoid waste because excess delays balance. They move through life with precision because they understand that every action must one day be revisited. The mind that remembers this moves carefully and therefore lives freely. The law of return extends beyond conduct to thought. Every repeated idea strengthens its own field. Thoughts of fear summon reasons for fear. Thoughts of discipline summon conditions for strength. The Stoic guards their mind as the root of consequence. They think only what they wish to return. The return often comes quietly. The disciplined may not recognize it at first. A door opens effortlessly. A chance meeting aligns perfectly. The world begins to arrange itself with mathematical accuracy. The Stoic greets these events with gratitude, not surprise. They understand that this is simply law fulfilling itself. When the return is delayed, the Stoic doubles their order. Delay is not denial, it is measurement. Life ensures proportion. To receive before structure is stable would destroy both. The Stoic holds form until the measure is exact. This posture itself accelerates return. Calm is magnetism. The law of return humbles arrogance. It reminds the strong that dominance without virtue collapses. Power without order consumes itself. The Stoic does not confuse victory with alignment. They seek correctness over conquest because only correctness endures. The law will always reclaim what was gained through corruption. The disciplined mind works without resentment because it trusts return. Even betrayal cannot break composure. What is taken unjustly will find its way back through other channels. The Stoic leaves justice to time. The law governs all correction without human interference. To understand this is to live without vengeance. The Stoic wastes no energy seeking repayment from others. They know that every imbalance corrects itself. By refusing retaliation, they remain aligned. Life will restore balance with greater precision than emotion ever could. The law of return also governs peace. The one who gives calm receives clarity. The one who spreads chaos inherits confusion. The Stoic plants serenity in every interaction. They speak with restraint, act with precision, and leave silence where others argue. Over time, that silence returns as power. Every principle the Stoic practices, discipline, patience, virtue, exists because of this law. Without return, these would be empty ideals. With it, they become strategies. The disciplined person invests in every act knowing that it will revisit them multiplied. Their life becomes a reflection of accumulated conduct. The return is not always pleasant, but it is always fair. Pain returns as instruction. Failure returns as refinement. Every hardship is debt being cleared. The Stoic welcomes these moments as proof that balance is being restored. What others call misfortune, they recognize as cleansing. To live by the law of return is to become timeless. The Stoic no longer measures gain by immediacy. They plant deeply, confident that what is buried will one day emerge stronger. Their patience becomes immortality. Their work outlives them because its rhythm continues beyond their lifetime. The law of return shapes destiny through character. What a person repeatedly does, they eventually become. What they become determines what returns. The Stoic lives consciously within this cycle, feeding it only with what is worthy. They refuse to act against principle because they refuse to meet that action again. Every moment contains the seed of return. The way you treat others, the discipline you practice, the thoughts you entertain, all will revisit you. The Stoic moves through each moment as gardener, planting only what they wish to see again. Nothing escapes cultivation. When this understanding deepens, life loses its randomness. The Stoic sees only order unfolding. They stop asking why and begin asking how. How does this serve balance? How can this be refined? The law of return becomes not a mystery but a manual. The wise trust this law enough to release urgency. They stop chasing validation because they know that truth requires no audience. Every act performed in alignment will echo. The return is guaranteed by proportion. Time is merely the instrument of delivery. At the highest level, the Stoic becomes the law itself. Their conduct is so consistent that life no longer distinguishes between giver and receiver. They live in continuous flow. What they give, they already possess. What they endure, they already transform. Return becomes identity. The law of return is not moral, it is mechanical, yet to live by it produces morality. The Stoic obeys it not out of fear, but understanding. They have seen it operate too precisely to doubt it. This awareness frees them from illusion. They no longer seek fortune. They create it through form. In the end, all things come back. Energy never disappears. It changes form and finds its source again. The Stoic moves with this knowledge and therefore never despairs. Every effort, every loss, every moment of restraint is on its way home. The circle always closes. The one who lives by this truth becomes unshakable. They see justice in time, meaning in struggle, and perfection in sequence. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. Everything returns to the disciplined. This is the Stoics' quiet faith, that the order they live by today will one day live for them. The air of calm dominion is not loud. It does not announce itself. It is a quiet density that changes the atmosphere of a room without a word. The Stoic who has reached this point no longer reacts to life. Life reacts to them. Their presence is not built on dominance but on balance. They do not seek control through force. They possess it through alignment. Their composure is the command. Power in this form cannot be faked. It is the product of years of restraint, repetition, and refinement. When emotion has been trained to remain still under pressure, perception sharpens until every movement becomes deliberate. The person who has mastered this learns that influence is not in what is said, but in how one stands, breathes, and decides. Their calm becomes the axis of their environment. The one who governs themselves governs time. Every decision slows to precision. Every delay becomes strategic. People rush to act. The Stoic studies the space between. The silence before action is where all power gathers. To remain composed in that space is to hold the advantage over all who cannot bear uncertainty. The person who moves last with clarity moves strongest. This discipline forms an aura, an invisible structure of trust and respect. Those who observe it sense control even when they cannot explain it. Calmness radiates authority because it implies self-mastery. In every age, the most powerful figures have shared this trait. A stillness that precedes motion, a command that does not shout, a confidence that does not need validation. Their silence holds more weight than the noise of others. The Stoic practices this daily. They do not wait for great tests. They master themselves in small ones. They refuse irritation. They slow the breath. They decide with intention, even in trivial matters. By mastering the micro, they command the macro. When a crisis comes, the posture is already formed. Calmness has become instinct, not performance. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Courage is not aggression, it is clarity in chaos. The one who does not lose clarity under tension cannot be ruled by fear. When others lose form, the Stoic remains aligned. This makes them a fixed point in a turning world. People follow stability instinctively. Leadership begins when composure becomes natural. Calm dominion is not detachment from life. It is total engagement without agitation. It is to participate fully while remaining unmoved by external turbulence. The Stoic does not deny emotion, they command it. Emotion becomes a disciplined force, not a disruptive one. The stronger the emotion, the more deliberate the response. This level of control cannot be taught by words. It must be trained through repetition until stillness becomes the default state. When a person reaches this state, their influence extends beyond their immediate actions. Their restraint alters the behavior of others. Chaos softens in their presence. Arguments lose energy. Noise fades. Order returns. The Stoic does not impose control. They restore it by embodying it. The calm person becomes the gravity others orbit. To develop this level of calm requires purification of attention. Modern life scatters focus across noise and novelty. The Stoic withdraws attention from distraction and directs it toward mastery. The mind becomes single-pointed, fully present, fully aware. This produces an intensity of presence that feels like still fire. The person does not need to assert control. Their focus asserts it for them. Inner command grows from this centered awareness. It is the understanding that power is concentration applied over time. Every act of focus builds a foundation. Every moment of restraint adds density to the mind. This weight accumulates silently until the person carries an authority that cannot be faked or stolen. They do not demand respect, they radiate it. The disciplined mind turns emotion into movement, but only when movement serves purpose. This separates impulse from intention. The Stoic's calm is not stagnation, it is readiness. Stillness is stored power. When they act, it is decisive, clean and final. The more patient the build-up, the more absolute the strike. To master calm is to master momentum. Self-governance is the highest form of leadership. The one who commands themselves requires no external validation. Their stability becomes contagious. People find safety in their predictability, strength in their silence. They set a standard by existing in order. Every decision is made from reason, not reaction. This is the architecture of command. Calm dominion does not seek recognition. Its proof is its effect. When calm enters a chaotic room, it rearranges energy without argument. When a Stoic walks among the restless, they do not speak about control, they are control. In this way, calmness becomes the highest form of communication, wordless, weighty, and unforgettable. A person who lives this way stops oscillating between doubt and confidence. Their equilibrium becomes permanent. Praise and criticism lose influence. Loss and gain hold equal weight. They have replaced emotion with principle. From that still center, they move like water through the terrain of life, fluid yet unbroken. This mastery requires solitude. Without solitude, there is no clarity. The Stoic withdraws not to escape, but to sharpen perception. Alone, they can observe thought without interference. Alone, they train the mind to obey. Every moment of silence becomes a forge where impulse is melted down and recast into intention. The more they practice it, the less the world can disturb them. To achieve calm dominion, the Stoic studies cause and effect in their own behavior. They trace agitation to its root, then remove it. They examine attachment, then refine it. This inner analysis replaces judgment with understanding. They stop blaming events and start decoding them. Life becomes a field of observation, not battle. When calmness becomes identity, the world's chaos no longer feels personal. Conflict becomes information. Delay becomes instruction. The Stoic learns from everything because they resist nothing. Their neutrality allows them to absorb truth without distortion. They adapt faster because they do not waste energy on resistance. True control begins when nothing external determines internal state. That is the threshold of freedom. It is not found through avoidance, but through endurance. Each difficulty faced without losing alignment adds another layer of strength. The Stoic does not seek easier circumstances. They seek to become unshakable within any. People misunderstand this calm as passivity. It is not passive. It is unprovoked. It does not retreat. It stands unmoved. When force is required, it is applied with precision. When silence is required, it is absolute. The calm person moves like a craftsman, never rushing, never hesitating, always executing exactly what is necessary. This equilibrium creates a quiet form of dominance. It is not social power, it is existential. It cannot be threatened because it does not depend on outcome. It rests entirely within. A person like this walks through failure and success the same way, measured, composed, awake. They understand that both are illusions that test discipline. Each act of restraint adds weight to the mind. The longer one holds form under pressure, the more presence they gain. Presence is influence condensed. When people encounter it, they feel it immediately. They may not know why, but they respect it instinctively. The Stoic needs no introduction. Their calm introduces them. There is no greater strength than composure under pressure. To remain balanced when others break is to inherit their power. Every collapse transfers energy to the one who stays upright. This is why the Stoic remains silent when provoked. They gain strength from stillness, while others lose it through reaction. The calm mind wins by conservation. Calm dominion turns perception into a weapon. When the mind is undisturbed, it sees clearly. It identifies patterns, motives, and timing that chaos hides. The Stoic moves with precision because they see what others miss. Their control is not mystical, it is mechanical, clarity sustained through discipline. To cultivate this state, one must stop negotiating with emotion. Emotion can exist, but it cannot lead. The Stoic acknowledges feeling, but they act by principle. Over time, this separation becomes second nature. Emotion becomes servant, not master. The result is peace that no situation can remove. Patience deepens into certainty. The person no longer doubts the timing of life. They understand that every event carries instruction. The loss teaches discipline. The wait teaches control. The hardship teaches focus. The Stoic extracts meaning from all of it and continues forward unshaken. In a world obsessed with reaction, calm becomes rebellion. To stay composed is to stand apart. The Stoic does not compete with noise, they outlast it. When others are consumed by urgency, they move with rhythm. When others seek validation, they move with conviction. Their pace is their protection. This is not detachment from life, it is mastery within it. Calm dominion allows total participation without confusion. The Stoic feels deeply yet chooses wisely. They experience emotion, but they do not drown in it. They act with precision because they have mastered distance between impulse and decision. The mind trained in this way becomes a fortress. It allows emotion to enter, but not to rule. It allows desire to exist, but not to dominate. It allows ambition, but filters it through order. This is inner command, the architecture of self-rule. It is not built overnight, it is constructed in moments of discipline repeated endlessly. Every time the Stoic chooses silence over reaction, they lay another stone in that fortress. Every act of patience adds weight to the walls. Every decision rooted in reason strengthens the foundation. Over time, the structure becomes immovable. The storms of life may strike, but they cannot penetrate. The presence of calm dominion influences without intention. It speaks without voice. It directs without command. This is the highest form of power, when being itself becomes leadership. The Stoic no longer needs to prove anything. Their existence proves it. Each day is another chance to deepen this authority. Each challenge is another layer of strength. What others call delay, the Stoic calls preparation. What others call silence, the Stoic calls focus. Calm dominion is not a state reached once. It is maintained through constant alignment. When this state is mastered, opportunity arrives naturally. Influence expands quietly. Respect appears without demand. The world begins to reflect the order within. The Stoic stands where noise cannot reach them, firm, clear, composed. And from that center, they move forward into whatever comes next with absolute steadiness. Endurance is the architecture of permanence. It is not built through comfort, but through confrontation with time, pressure, and repetition. The Stoic does not seek a life without weight. They seek to grow strong enough to bear it without distortion. The structure of endurance begins where impatience dies. Every test is a stone. Every hardship is a beam. Over the years, these moments assemble into something unshakable. To endure is to stand unchanged in a changing world. The mind must be trained to hold form when everything around it shifts. This is not denial, it is construction. Endurance is the process of converting adversity into structure. The longer you remain calm under pressure, the more solid your foundation becomes. When others collapse, you stand because your stability was built for strain. The Stoic does not measure strength by aggression or defiance. They measure it by how little they need to move when tested. The one who can absorb force without fracture becomes immovable. Each difficulty is an architect shaping the inner structure. The pressure that breaks the weak refines the strong. Life is the chisel, the disciplined mind is the stone. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. The modern person avoids difficulty and therefore avoids strength. The Stoic moves toward it, not because they enjoy pain, but because they understand that without resistance there is no growth. Muscles, virtue, and discipline all follow the same law: adaptation through challenge. The harder the trial, the greater the structure it builds. Endurance is not about surviving once. It is about sustaining form repeatedly. A single act of patience is easy. A lifetime of it is art. Each repetition of restraint adds weight to character. Endurance refines chaos into order. It takes the unpredictable and makes it predictable by response. When you have trained to withstand anything, you begin to fear nothing. The foundation of endurance is acceptance. The Stoic does not waste energy resenting what is already happening. Resistance without reason drains power. Acceptance channels it. By accepting difficulty, the mind gains control over it. What cannot be changed can be directed. Through this redirection, suffering becomes training. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." The simplicity of this statement hides its power. Endurance is not dramatic. It is mechanical. It is the decision to remain composed regardless of duration. Time itself becomes a tool. The longer the test, the deeper the fortitude. True endurance is not passive. It is active stability. The Stoic does not merely wait for pain to end. They continue building within it. They maintain posture while others slump. They continue to sharpen clarity while others dull themselves with distraction. Endurance requires engagement, not withdrawal. To endure well is to remain awake inside hardship. The architecture of endurance cannot be rushed. Every layer must be earned through repetition. There are no shortcuts, no substitutes. Each day adds a small piece of structure. Each struggle adds texture to the foundation. Over time, endurance ceases to feel like effort. It becomes identity. The one who was training to withstand has become the one who cannot be broken. Endurance transforms the relationship with time. For the impatient, time is an enemy. For the disciplined, time is an ally. The Stoic does not fear long paths. They use them to fortify mind and body. Time rewards consistency. The longer you persist in order, the more inevitable success becomes. Failure cannot penetrate a will that does not expire. Every obstacle tests proportion. The Stoic measures their response against reality. If the pain is small, they endure quietly. If the pain is vast, they endure patiently. Nothing is beyond measure. All things fit within the frame of order. This proportional thinking prevents collapse. The mind remains in command even when circumstances are not. The strength to endure is drawn from principle. Without principle, endurance becomes suffering. With principle, it becomes purpose. The disciplined person holds to reason as a compass through storms. They do not ask whether they can continue. They already decided they will. Endurance is not about hope. It is about decision. Modern culture celebrates speed, but endurance celebrates permanence. Quick success fades. Sudden progress collapses. The Stoic understands that anything built fast will fall fast. Endurance builds slowly and therefore lasts. The mind that can hold still through the weight earns what the restless lose. To endure is to mature. Pain reveals what is unstable. Frustration exposes what is fragile. The Stoic studies both as information. They adjust posture, correct errors, and grow stronger. Each challenge becomes feedback. The person who reacts emotionally repeats mistakes. The person who endures learns them away. Endurance converts chaos into precision. Every form of excellence passes through endurance. The artist endures repetition. The athlete endures exhaustion. The thinker endures solitude. The Stoic endures life itself. Each field tests patience differently, but the principle remains. Mastery belongs to the one who stays longest in alignment. Talent fades without endurance. Vision collapses without discipline. The architecture of endurance is built in silence. Growth is quiet. Progress rarely announces itself. The world sees only the result, never the repetitions. The Stoic works unseen, trusting the process. They do not seek validation because they understand that permanence cannot depend on praise. What is real requires no witness. The mind that endures develops an internal calmness. It stops fearing outcomes because it has survived worse. Fear dissolves through exposure. After enough trials, the mind accepts that endurance itself is the victory. Success, failure, gain and loss become interchangeable experiences. They are all part of the training. To construct endurance, you must simplify. Complexity collapses under strain. The Stoic keeps their principles few and clear. Do what is right. Stay disciplined. Remain calm. Follow reason. This simplicity allows strength to scale. The more complex the philosophy, the easier it breaks under pressure. Each hardship reveals a layer of weakness waiting to be reinforced. The Stoic welcomes this revelation. They treat pain as information, not injustice. The world is not unfair, it is accurate. It gives you exactly what you need to strengthen what is untested. Endurance is cooperation with this accuracy. There is no path to peace without pressure. Peace built without resistance is fragile. Peace forged in struggle becomes permanent. The Stoic does not seek peace through escape, but through strength. They endure until peace is no longer fragile but structural. That peace is not the absence of hardship, it is the mastery of it. When endurance matures, it changes presence. People can feel it. There is a stillness, a density of character that cannot be imitated. The one who has endured long enough no longer speaks of resilience, they embody it. Their calm no longer feels deliberate, it feels natural. Their steadiness becomes a kind of gravity. Endurance builds respect in silence. People trust what lasts. The Stoic becomes that standard. They do not collapse when others do, and that consistency earns quiet authority. They become the person others turn to when conditions worsen. This is leadership born from longevity, not position. Every storm leaves two types of people, those who broke and those who were refined. The Stoic aims to be refined. Each trial strips away what is unnecessary until only essence remains. That essence is endurance, the form of the human soul after it has faced everything and remained whole. To reach this level, the mind must love the process. You cannot endure what you secretly resent. The Stoic accepts hardship as a natural function of growth. They stop asking why it is happening and start asking what it is building. This redirection transforms suffering into construction. The mind becomes an architect working with adversity instead of against it. Pain becomes instruction. Delay becomes teacher. Fatigue becomes measure. The Stoic turns these into material. Nothing is wasted. Even loss serves structure. Every moment is either building or testing the architecture. Both are essential. Without testing, strength remains theory. The disciplined person treats endurance as a lifestyle. It extends beyond difficulty. It shapes rest, diet, thought, and speech. They train every detail to align with strength. This constancy forms identity. Endurance is not something they do. It is what they are. The architecture stands strongest when pressure is continuous. The Stoic does not seek relief. They seek rhythm. Pain, recovery, reflection, and calm become parts of the same motion. Each cycle deepens structure. Each repetition expands capacity. The longer it continues, the quieter it feels. Endurance leads to certainty, not the arrogance of prediction, but the confidence of survival. The Stoic no longer fears unknown futures. They have trained through enough chaos to know they will remain. That knowledge replaces anxiety with assurance. The mind that endures ceases to panic. It calculates. The discipline of endurance is not glamorous. It often feels invisible, yet it is the foundation beneath every form of greatness. Empires, legacies, philosophies, all require endurance to last. The Stoic recognizes this and commits to outlasting emotion, fashion, and fatigue. What is built through endurance becomes timeless. Every person must choose their structure. The weak construct walls of avoidance. The strong build frameworks of endurance. The first crumble under stress, the second strengthen. The Stoic builds the latter, an inner fortress sustained by calm, patience, and will. The architecture of endurance does not end with hardship. It continues through peace. Even in calm times, the Stoic trains, prepares, and sharpens. They do not relax into weakness. They know that life will test them again, and they welcome it. The test is not punishment. It is confirmation. Endurance defines destiny. The one who endures long enough becomes inevitable. Time bends around consistency. Opportunity arrives where permanence exists. The Stoic does not rush this process. They embody it. Every breath is part of the construction. Every moment is part of the build. When endurance becomes nature, peace becomes permanent. The storms no longer threaten. They confirm strength. What began as effort becomes identity. The architecture stands, not because it avoided pressure, but because it was designed to withstand it. That is the Stoic's art, the creation of strength so stable that no force can dismantle it. The discipline of indifference is not apathy, it is strength disguised as stillness. The Stoic does not avoid emotion, they master it. Indifference is the art of withholding reaction until reason has spoken. It is not coldness toward life, it is control over attachment. The person who practices this discipline becomes unreachable by chaos. They remain steady when praised and unmoved when criticized. What others call detachment, the Stoic calls freedom. To live with indifference is to understand proportion. Most events do not deserve the energy we give them. Most opinions are noise. Most provocations are tests. The Stoic studies these moments without being trapped by them. They recognize that life is full of forces demanding response, but only few requiring it. This awareness separates power from distraction. The wise preserve their energy by refusing to engage the trivial. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when you stop seeking to control what you cannot. The discipline of indifference begins there. When the mind releases its grasp on outcomes, it becomes invulnerable. Loss, delay, and judgment no longer break focus. The Stoic accepts what is given, refuses to fear what is taken, and continues acting with order. This composure is not denial, it is authority. Indifference to external opinion is the foundation of peace. The modern world measures worth through comparison, yet the Stoic measures by alignment with principle. Praise and criticism both distort the mind when accepted as truth. The disciplined person remains inwardly unmoved. Approval cannot elevate them. Disapproval cannot diminish them. They act from inner law, not external reaction. The Stoic's calm posture is not the absence of care. It is care directed inward. They guard the mind from intrusion. They protect attention as one protects life itself. Indifference is the gate that filters the world. Through it, only what serves reason may enter. This discipline ensures that no insult can destabilize, no flattery can seduce, and no chaos can infect. To cultivate indifference requires clarity of value. The Stoic defines what truly matters: virtue, discipline, duty, and order. Everything outside of these holds secondary weight. Wealth, reputation, and pleasure are external goods, useful but not defining. When one stops confusing possession with identity, fear dissolves. The loss of externals cannot harm what is built internally. The world feeds on reaction. Every system of distraction, politics, fame, markets, depends on emotion to survive. The Stoic disengages from that economy. Their peace cannot be bought, provoked, or borrowed. They refuse participation in chaos. This withdrawal is not escape, it is elevation. To stand unmoved among the frantic is the purest form of leadership. The discipline of indifference refines emotion into precision. It does not suppress feeling, it organizes it. Love becomes loyalty, not attachment. Anger becomes direction, not chaos. Desire becomes ambition, not addiction. By channeling every impulse through reason, the Stoic transforms emotion from liability into power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." This is not denial of injury, but command over interpretation. Indifference allows perception to remain pure. Events lose power because meaning is assigned only by consent. When you no longer give permission for pain to define you, you begin to control experience itself. This discipline begins in the smallest decisions. When interrupted, remain composed. When insulted, remain silent. When ignored, remain consistent. Indifference is built through thousands of unchosen moments met with restraint. Each time you refuse reaction, you reinforce mastery. Over time, you no longer suppress the impulse, you simply no longer feel it. Indifference is not cold withdrawal from life. It is total participation without dependency. The Stoic loves deeply, but without possession. They act boldly, but without desperation. They pursue excellence, but without obsession. In all things, they maintain symmetry between effort and acceptance. When success comes, they bow. When failure comes, they bow again. To practice indifference is to remove the leverage the world holds. No insult can provoke a person who does not depend on validation. No loss can devastate someone who never tied worth to outcome. The Stoic strength lies in this independence. When the world realizes it cannot manipulate them, it begins to respect them. The disciplined person practices this not only in adversity, but in abundance. Many fail when life becomes easy. Comfort seduces the mind into softness. The Stoic resists this by treating pleasure as test. They enjoy, but remain ready to lose. They rest, but remain ready to move. They own, but remain ready to let go. Indifference preserves clarity through both storm and calm. This clarity is the highest freedom. When no external circumstance determines internal peace, a person becomes ungovernable. They act by principle, not impulse. This is the difference between control and compulsion. The undisciplined react to life. The Stoic directs it. Their calm is a form of silent command. Indifference is not the absence of desire, it is the mastery of it. The Stoic does not kill ambition, they purify it. They remove the greed, the vanity, the fear. What remains is purpose, focused, detached, clean. They pursue goals not to prove worth, but to fulfill potential. Success, when it arrives, does not inflate. Failure, when it comes, does not wound. People often mistake emotional control for emptiness. It is the opposite. Indifference creates space for deeper feeling, gratitude without clinging, love without control, sorrow without collapse. The disciplined person experiences emotion fully, but remains centered within it. They do not drown, they observe. That is not absence of heart, it is its highest function. This discipline extends to time itself. The Stoic does not mourn the past or fear the future. They meet the present without projection. Indifference to time is not negligence, it is alignment. Each moment is complete. What is gone cannot return. What is coming cannot be rushed. This understanding creates serenity sharper than joy. Indifference also governs response to failure. The Stoic knows that outcomes belong to fate, but conduct belongs to will. If the effort was honest and the intention pure, the result is irrelevant. They do not attach worth to success, they attach it to discipline. This shift removes anxiety. Effort remains, outcome dissolves. The mind trained in indifference no longer chases emotional highs. It seeks constancy instead. Peace becomes the preferred climate. Excitement becomes noise. The Stoic understands that what most people call happiness is simply relief from agitation. They aim higher, for stability that requires no relief because it is never disturbed. When the Stoic is praised, they thank but do not depend. When blamed, they listen but do not yield. They measure both through principle. If the praise aligns with truth, they acknowledge it. If not, they disregard it. Their compass never leaves internal alignment. This is how they remain clear while others distort under approval and criticism. Indifference creates invisibility to manipulation. The modern world is designed to exploit desire, status, recognition, attention. The Stoic becomes immune to this economy. Their self-respect cannot be sold, their attention cannot be rented, and their emotions cannot be programmed. Their silence becomes defiance. To cultivate this silence requires endurance. Every day offers new provocations. The disciplined person meets them all with the same posture, calm, measured, deliberate. No outburst, no defense, no unnecessary explanation. Each act of restraint expands control. Each moment of patience builds armor invisible to the eye, but felt by all who meet it. In conversation, indifference manifests as precision. The Stoic speaks when words improve silence. They do not argue to win, they speak to clarify. When others raise their voices, they lower theirs. When chaos grows, they slow the rhythm. Their calm resets the tempo of the room. That is the power of restraint. The discipline of indifference also protects against emotional contagion. Most people absorb moods from their environment unconsciously. The Stoic does not. Their state is self-generated. They carry the climate within. In anger, they remain composed. In panic, they remain logical. Their equilibrium becomes protection against collective disorder. When provoked, the Stoic views the offender as teacher. Every insult becomes instruction. Every provocation reveals attachment still alive within. They thank the test for the information it brings. This shifts emotion into data. The disciplined person no longer takes offense. They take notes. Indifference to outcomes strengthens creativity. Without fear of failure or need for applause, the mind becomes free to experiment. Innovation emerges from detachment. The Stoic creates for truth, not reward. Their art, business, or craft becomes expression of principle rather than pursuit of praise. This purity of intent gives their work endurance. To live with indifference is to live with order. Each emotion has its place, each thought its function, nothing excessive, nothing wasted. This mental symmetry mirrors the structure of nature. The Stoic does not seek control over the universe. They seek harmony with it. Indifference is the method by which they achieve that balance. The disciplined person learns to apply indifference to both success and suffering. Neither changes their conduct. They remain consistent in victory and in loss. The world cannot manipulate those who treat both impostors the same. This constancy builds credibility. It makes the Stoic reliable in all seasons. The world misunderstands indifference because it mistakes movement for life. The Stoic knows stillness is not death, it is mastery. They see that most people move to avoid themselves. Indifference reverses this motion. It anchors the self so deeply that stillness becomes strength. In stillness, everything unnecessary fades. Indifference brings efficiency. When emotion is disciplined, energy is no longer wasted on reaction. The mind becomes clear, judgment becomes fast, and decision becomes precise. The Stoic achieves more with less because they act from control, not compulsion. This economy of motion defines greatness. To sustain this state requires humility. The Stoic knows that no one is fully indifferent. They are tested daily by ego and attachment, but awareness itself is progress. The moment you see your reaction, you regain command. Each correction is a step toward mastery. Indifference grows not from perfection, but from persistence. Over time, indifference evolves into serenity. The storms that once provoked now pass unnoticed. Praise sounds softer. Insult fades quicker. The world continues, but its grip loosens. What remains is focus, clarity, and quiet power. The Stoic stands in the same place as before, but now nothing reaches them. This is not emptiness, it is fullness contained. The mind is no longer scattered across every external change. It resides entirely within its own command. That is the essence of the discipline of indifference, a calm so complete that the universe itself must adjust to it. The Stoic no longer bends to life. Life bends to their composure. The permanence of mastery begins when discipline ceases to feel like effort. What was once repetition becomes nature. The Stoic no longer forces control. They embody it. Their composure is no longer maintained, it simply exists. This state is not reached through inspiration, but through exacting repetition over time. Every action carved the pattern until the pattern became identity. The disciplined person does not act disciplined, they are discipline. Mastery in the Stoic sense is not an achievement. It is a transformation of being. The external world may see results, but the true change occurs within. What was once choice becomes instinct. What was once resistance becomes rhythm. This permanence is not fragile because it no longer depends on motivation or circumstance. It is self-sustaining law. To reach this state, the Stoic endures a long apprenticeship under order. Each day demands proof. Each test measures integrity. Through cycles of pain, patience, and control, discipline becomes internalized until no external force can dislodge it. This is the quiet ascension, the transition from practice to permanence, from method to nature. The permanence of mastery requires subtraction. Weakness hides in excess. The Stoic removes distraction, indulgence, and dependence until only essence remains. The fewer the needs, the stronger the will. Mastery thrives in simplicity. The person who needs little cannot be bent. They carry everything necessary within themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Mastery ends debate. It replaces philosophy with embodiment. The Stoic no longer speaks of virtue, they act from it. Their consistency becomes doctrine, their presence becomes lesson. The proof of mastery is not explanation, but demonstration. The one who reaches permanence no longer counts progress. They live it. Their order persists regardless of weather, fatigue, or mood. Habit has fused with identity. There is no longer separation between who they are and what they practice. Even in silence they train. Even in rest they strengthen. This constancy grants them an aura of calm inevitability. Mastery does not chase excellence, it defines it. The Stoic understands that the search for perfection is endless when pursued as desire. But when perfection becomes posture, it no longer needs pursuit. It simply radiates through every motion, every decision, every breath. This is not arrogance. It is alignment with principle so complete that no dissonance remains. Permanence is achieved when discipline survives without witness. When there is no audience, no reward, and the conduct remains exact, that is mastery. The Stoic does not train for attention, they train for order. They act with integrity when unseen because integrity is their foundation, not performance. This consistency over time builds a strength that cannot decay. The permanence of mastery is built in solitude. External recognition corrupts it. The Stoic values silence because it reveals what remains when applause fades. Alone, the person meets themselves without disguise. Alone, they see whether discipline is habit or principle. The honest mind does not require validation to remain firm. When discipline becomes nature, time no longer feels linear. Each day is not a new beginning, but a continuation of the same unbroken order. The Stoic moves through life as through a single long act of purpose. Success and failure lose distinction. Every outcome is another expression of form. The permanence of mastery dissolves the anxiety of results because the work is already complete within. To the untrained, this looks like detachment. In truth, it is precision. The master no longer wastes energy on friction. Their mind functions cleanly, their emotions obey rhythm, their body serves the will. Every action is economical, every word carries weight. There is no motion without meaning. The Stoic no longer requires motivation. They act because order demands action. They rest because reason demands restoration. Their choices no longer depend on feeling, they depend on law. This internal legislation frees them from external command. They are governed only by principle. Freedom through structure. This is the paradox that defines the master. The permanence of mastery is not emotionless. It is emotion contained within reason. The Stoic feels everything but is directed by nothing but clarity. Anger may arise, but it burns clean. Fear may appear, but it never leads. Joy may visit, but it does not distort. Emotions exist within boundaries drawn by understanding. When mastery matures, ambition transforms. The Stoic no longer strives to prove, they seek to refine. Achievement becomes secondary to purity of conduct. Recognition loses all meaning. The pleasure comes not from winning, but from performing with integrity. The result is inevitable once the form is perfected. Permanence demands humility. The one who believes they have arrived has already begun to decline. Mastery is not possession, it is maintenance. It must be renewed daily through vigilance and correction. The Stoic inspects themselves constantly, not out of insecurity, but precision. They know that without awareness, even order decays. True mastery does not fear decline because it has prepared for it. Every moment of strength contained a plan for weakness. Every victory trained for loss. The Stoic anticipates entropy and designs discipline to survive it. When fortune shifts, their structure remains intact. Their peace cannot be taken because it was never dependent. The permanence of mastery is expressed in the smallest things, the way one speaks, walks, or breathes. Each act reflects the same law that governs the whole. There is no division between minor and major disciplines. The one who controls the smallest motion controls the largest. Every detail is an echo of principle. Mastery has rhythm, not rush. The Stoic understands that intensity without rhythm burns out. They move with sustained precision, conserving energy for endurance. Their strength lies in continuity, not explosion. When others exhaust themselves chasing urgency, the Stoic endures, calm and inevitable. This endurance makes their presence heavy. They are not loud, but they alter the environment. People sense the structure within them. They do not need to speak of mastery. It speaks through their restraint. The world responds to order. Chaos retreats from it instinctively. The permanence of mastery requires isolation from trends. The Stoic does not shift identity with season or opinion. Their values remain the same through applause and silence. They adapt in method, but never in principle. This constancy builds a reputation that outlives them. Their name becomes symbol of steadiness. The one who has reached permanence no longer asks what to do. They know. Every decision emerges from internal law. Doubt dissolves because choices have been rehearsed through years of consistency. The master no longer reacts. They execute. Their life operates like a well-forged mechanism, precise and effortless. Discipline without permanence is labor. Discipline with permanence is art. The Stoic refines discipline until it becomes elegant. Efficiency replaces strain. Focus replaces willpower. The act of living becomes an unbroken flow of composure and intent. Every motion carries beauty because it carries control. To build such permanence, one must eliminate contradiction. The Stoic cannot live by one principle and act by another. Their beliefs, actions and words must form a single alignment. This unification creates strength that does not leak. Where there is no contradiction, there is no weakness. The permanence of mastery is timeless because it is built on universal law. Nature operates through order, repetition, and proportion. The Stoic mirrors this in their conduct. By living in harmony with these laws, they become part of them. Their strength is not personal, it is elemental. Permanence also demands patience. The Stoic does not rush outcomes because they know that anything immediate is temporary. They work for what lasts. Each repetition compounds into structure. The slower the growth, the deeper the roots. This patience is not passive, it is strategic. Time serves those who serve it. The master treats failure as calibration, not defeat. Error reveals refinement, not weakness. Each mistake becomes material for construction. The Stoic studies it, learns, and continues without emotional collapse. Their response is consistent because their identity is anchored. Circumstance cannot alter foundation. When mastery reaches permanence, stillness replaces striving. The Stoic no longer seeks to rise, they simply are. Their existence itself becomes instruction. People drawn to them sense completion, not ambition. The energy once spent on pursuit now radiates as peace. Their calm becomes environment. The permanence of mastery ends the cycle of motivation and despair. It removes the need for constant renewal because the system renews itself. The Stoic has built a perpetual motion of conduct. Each act strengthens the next. Each moment confirms the last. This self-sustaining structure defines timeless discipline. The master's peace does not depend on circumstance. It is not altered by victory or failure. It is not heightened by joy or reduced by pain. It exists independent of fluctuation. This independence is freedom in its purest form, the liberation from external influence through internal control. Mastery in this state is silent. It does not announce, persuade, or defend. It simply exists, undeniable and complete. The Stoic who has reached this stage lives in harmony with everything because they resist nothing. Their calm is not fragile. It is eternal alignment between will and nature. This permanence cannot be inherited. It must be built. It is earned through years of order, through every moment of restraint, through every repetition performed without reward. When at last it arrives, it feels less like attainment and more like return. The person realizes they have not become something new. They have uncovered what was always there beneath disorder. The permanence of mastery is the end of conflict between self and world. It is the final stillness that follows total alignment. The Stoic does not ascend above life. They merge with its law. What remains is simplicity, clarity, and quiet strength, the calm of someone who has already won the only battle that matters, mastery over themselves.